Hey guys, and welcome to a good old-fashioned scrap between two mighty players. On the left-hand side, leading the forces of the Dark Elves, we have I Am Fear up against Powerwolf of the Vampire Counts. This is a bit of a classic showdown. You see this quite a bit in tournaments. Vampire Counts a very common pick by tournament players, and Dark Elves a beautiful counter for them. So I have to see what these players bring to the table to spice things up. And boy, oh boy, is it going to be spicy. For the forces of the Dark Elves, we do have some Dread Spears dotted all the way around, guarding the main front line, combined with some Witch Elves. So these scarletly clad ladies of the night will be able to chew and carve their way through a ridiculous amount of Vampire Count infantry, but they are rather squishy themselves, so even zombies will be able to put a little bit of a hurt on them. Just behind them, it looks like we have the Blades of the Blood Queen. Some of the most devastating and elite warriors the Dark Elves can bring to the battlefield. Anti-infantry, armor piercing, do so much damage output, they can even work relatively okay up against characters and large entities as well. Looks like their main job today is going to be guarding a Sorceress, coming in with a Burning Head, Flaming Sword and Cascading Fire Cloak, and they're being supported by a Death Hag. In the back, we have a couple of units of Blackheart Corsairs with handbows, again very common. They can be used to shoot characters, flyers and mortis engines from the relative safety of hiding at the back of the formation. And likewise, zombie summons are going to do nothing to them because these guys are a crossbreed faction, or crossbreed unit I should say, where they're multi-talented and multi-skilled. They can whip out those swords and really carve up enemy cheap chaff as well. We have one unit of Cold One Knights in the back, just for a bit of mass to pin in some of the enemy's larger creatures they can bring to bear. And we have Crone Hellebron on her blood cauldron. Oh, hell yeah, look at the waves of blood bubbling at the edge of this beautiful contraption. Crone Hellebron, one of the most badass characters you can bring for the Dark Elves. Coming in with Gaze of Cain, we also have the Witch Brew, Heroic Killing Blow, Fury of Cain, the Amulet of Darkfire, and the Cursed Blades. Looking to roll dirty and really bring the pain. It is quite a fantastic model for sure. For the forces here of the Vampire Counts, we do have a bit of an air corps with Fellbats mixed in as well with the Devils of Schwarsthafen, regiment around Vargeist, who can actually be pretty powerful on the punch, particularly if they are used well to cycle charge their enemies to death. Bucket ton of zombies in the front line as to be expected, cheap, cheerful and summoned to be here. They are the walking embodiment of meat shields. In the secondary line, we have a load of the standard stuff. Spearmen mixed in with Graveguard dotted all the way along. No Sternsmen. Actually, just as I say that, we come up to the Sternsmen. So we do indeed have the Sternsmen. A little surprised we weren't going to see them. They're awesome black and red colour scheme makes them quite ferocious, but likewise, so does that regeneration, making them really sticky. We have one unit of Hex Wraiths combined with the Verix Reavers. Man, both these guys have brought some really cool units today. Verix Reavers kind of come in, actually, with that Sternsman colour scheme, the dark red and the black. And these guys do indeed come in with regeneration themselves. With good cycle charge, and those Lancers should be able to start picking apart at the enemy formation rather effectively. We have a Necromancer coming in with Invocation of Heck, Dance Macabre, and Raise Dead on the back of a corpse cart there. And then we have Vlad von Karstein, the chaddiest Chad to ever have chadded. He's moving through the zombie battle lines, trying to push his way to the front. He comes in with the Karstein ring today, Master of Beguilement. We have Arcane Conduit, Raise Dead, the Dance Macabre once again, and Invocation Hex. So it seems like he really does indeed enjoy these spells, bringing them on multiple casters. And he's coming with the Blood Drinker, going to be giving himself that regeneration, which is one thing that makes him an incredibly tanky and powerful lord. I actually like Vlad quite a bit, think he's severely underrated, though he doesn't bring the utility of a Dragon Lord up in the sky with those breath attacks and the mobile fast magic. Looks like the Dark Elves are going to be repositioning, actually deciding to take the low ground. Obi-Wan would be very, very upset right now with this Dark Elf player. Not sure why he decided to do that rather than rotating around onto the right and taking the higher position, which does help out in a long battle grind, but it seems like he is more content to sit down here on the low ground and absorb the damage instead. Hex Wraiths as well as the Verix Reavers are going to be manoeuvring out to the right-hand flank. There's not that much to get into, unfortunately, onto the back line. Of course, we do have the double Blackheart Corsairs, but they're no slouches in combat, and they should be able to fend off Fellbats and the Devils. Well, the Devils are pretty solid, actually, but hopefully with support they will be able to protect and fend off themselves. We can see a little bit of repositioning now. Cold One Knight's going to float out over to the left-hand side. They probably didn't want to take that fight 2v1, particularly with the healing that Vlad can bring to the table. But hey, it might be a little bit of a bait to try and get some of the usage of those Burning Heads and other such spells. Blackheart Corsairs are also going to run away down the hill to look to probably take a little high ground here behind their own forces. And now the Dark Elves will be advancing upon their opponents. The Blades of the Blood Queen's capes fluttering in the wind to the smell of death and victory. Or at least they hope. Who knows, they might get slaughtered, which can sometimes happen actually quite often to really expensive elite infantry because they're such a target. Naked Witch Elves are going to be charging uphill, heads lowered, blades at the ready, trying to jump on top of these zombies. They will get a card through the zombies very, very quickly. My god, look at that HP drain away. Down a third health already. Witch Elves up to 30 kills in a matter of seconds there. But they are starting to take a bit of damage back as well. It looks like Vlad von Carstein is coming to rally his zombies back to the battlefield. Witch Elves actually push forward ahead of all the Red Spears, looking to try to cleave out the chaff as quickly as possible. The Common Knights aren't active at the moment. It looks like Varric Reavers and the Hexwraiths just staring down at each other at the moment, as the main battle line is well and truly afoot. Witch Elves are going to really struggle here. They've been hit by the Master of Beguilement. As the Sternsmen come in here, that's certainly going to be a dead unit of Witch Elves. The other Witch Elves are faring significantly better, particularly when supported here by Crone Hellebron. Black Orc Corsairs are fleeing for their lives well from the fell bats. Good to see some Dread Spears drop deep there to help protect their ranged forces where possible. And oh no, Flame and Sword of Ruin does go down on the Cold One Knights, allowing them to dish out some massive hurt here to the Hexwraiths, but they themselves have been terrified and have taken a whopping beating right there. In fact, being broken, Hexwraiths do need a cheeky little bit of a heal here. Looks like we are going to see our first Burning Head go down the line. It is going to catch the Sternsmen, who are extra weak to fire. For some reason, when Burning Heads now come into the game, it like lags out the game completely, which is really bizarre. It's only happened recently. The Crone Hellebron is a little bit isolated and alone. She needs to be careful. Once these Witch Elves are dealt with, the Devils are short half and could float over here and do some pretty good work. To her Skeleton Spearmen are relatively chaffy, but she only has 80 armor, which certainly isn't the best in the world. In the back burners, you can see Black Orc Corsairs slowly getting dragged down, but they should be able to finish off all the Fellbats and gain some kind of range superiority over the Vampire Counts if they can also take down a lot of their cavalry here. You can see Invocation Heck did go down on the Varric Reavers there as they slam home in to the blades of the Blood Queen. Gazer Cane does go down on them, however, buffing up their stats, and they are slaughtering Vlad von Garstein down in here. He is surrounded by blood, vengeance, and glory, but unfortunately none of it is his, apart from probably the blood. And down he goes. That Death Hag combined with her elite bodyguard there of the Blades of the Blood Queen just cut down Vlad, and that is the power of Hellebron at work, buffing up their troops to greater feats of heroism. Hexwraiths are being used to run down enemy troops in the back burners, or back elements of the battlefield. Certainly a good idea. Varric Reavers are going to be chasing and certainly going to be making a nice little souffle here from the Black Orc Corsairs. Devils of Frosthafen are going to attempt, it would seem, to repay the Dark Elves in double. No, they actually cancel their attack animation. I thought their best bet here was to try to finish off the Crone. Now that Vlad has gone down, if you lose your leadership as an undead faction, Vampire Counts, Vampirates, or Tin Kings, it is disastrous. So taking down the enemy leader can be a nice counter punch there. You can see the Dread Spears are getting surrounded now by Graveguard as well as those Devils, and the Flying Devils themselves should be able to break the Dread Spears. In fact, they terrified them. And the Black Orc Corsairs are likewise getting terrified and ridden down now by the Hexwraiths, as well as the Varric Reavers looking to finish off the remainder of these forces. Terror could prove pretty crucial in the late stages of the game as the Vampire Counts attempt to surround the Crone. Another fireball is conjured into existence, or a bigger Burning Head I should say, straight down the line on top of all those troops, doing some pretty crazy damage. Devils are currently flying high in the sky, and not sure where to dive. Rear attacking the Blades of Blood Queen wouldn't be the worst idea, but I think finishing off the Crone Hellebron would 100% be the play right now. Witch Elves as well as Dread Spears clearing through some of the remaining chaff down on the flank, and now we can see the Gaze of Cain in that beautiful animation. I really do love it quite a bit here, as the Blades of Blood Queen are going to turn and fight the on-rushing skeleton hordes. Necromancer is getting very danger low as well. Witch Elves look to dual Graveguard. That should go in the Graveguard favour. Looks like the Hexwraiths and Varric Reavers have now finished off the remainder of those Black Orc Corsairs. They need to be over here right now, though, starting to rear charge these Spearmen, because I don't think the Necromancer is going to hold, and the Necromancer is so pivotal here with his healing coming into the later stages of the game. Graveguard are attempting to support him. Crone Hellebron currently has the Witch Brew popped on her, so she is rampaging up to 186 kills. She does manage to slice the head, or remove the head from the shoulders of that nasty Necromancer. We're going to get a nice round though. Graveguard are coming in to try to surround the Dread Spears. Blades of the Blood Queen continue to fight onwards though, which is a little bit scary for the forces of the Vampire Counts. Bounce power starting to go away from them. However, the Devils have managed to clear up some of the units on the periphery of the battlefield. Hex Wraiths as well as Veric Reavers attempting to rotate around the battlefield right now to work as the hammer to crash upon the Anvil of Graveguard. And in they come. Lancers load straight onto those Witch Elves and into the Dread Spears. They need to try to cycle charge where possible though. Unfortunately, they are rampaging, so they're not able to pull back at the moment. And just as that happens, a well-placed Flaming Sword of Rune comes down, giving fire damage, plus increased weapon damage to all of these troops. Those Hex Wraiths are really going to start feeling the burn. Crone Hellebron up to 233 kills. Always good to see her perform well and in action. Cascade and Firecloak does also go down on the unit here of the Blades of the Blood Queen. The Devils do what they probably should have done a little while ago, and they're going after the Crone Hellebron. They pack a mighty punch on the charge. In the distance, we do have some Dread Spears who can return. Likewise, some more Dread Spears down here, but that is about it. It's pretty much what you see is what you get. And almost all these units are rampaging. Bit of a misclick, though. A bit of a panicked drop of the air effect buff here by the Dark Elf player. Actually catching way away from the main battlefield. He was probably just spamming different buttons, trying to save the Crone because she is really struggling right now. Down to 416 HP. She does break, but just as she does, the Devils look to be really struggling quite badly. Sorceress of Fire is going to be going down here. Hex Wraiths trying to hack and cleave at her skull. Likewise, the Vex Reavers been very impressed with their usage so far today, up to 123 kills. Although the Blades of Blood Queen doing some really powerful work themselves. Crone Hellebron is on the retreat path. There is only 4 Devils right now, and they're going to take a little while to kill her. Down to 100 HP, though. They decide not to go after her. No, you have to assassinate her and finish her off for good. Although it looks like Arminos is actually going to kick in, and the Crone is left kicking with a Pyrrhic victory, as it so often is in this matchup, for the forces of the Dark Elves. Very well played to these two champs. I am Fear, who has a different name on my Discord. Can't remember who this is, who sent this in, but thank you so much for the submission. It was a really awesome game. And to Powerwolf himself of Clan SH. Not heard of them before. Maybe, I don't know what that means. Slaughterhouse, maybe? Who knows? But whoever you are, Powerhouse, you put up a fantastic showing in what is a really tough matchup. There was a few big deciding moments which I think let Powerwolf down and actually cost him this game. But we'll get to that, as well as the damage dealt and damage value of all of these units in just a second. Before we get there, though, guys, if you do enjoy this one, make sure to leave a fat, juicy thumbs up. Subscribe as well to the channel. We've got some really cool goals that are going to be kicking in at 7,500 subscribers, where we're going to be doing some pretty epic giveaways and streams. It's going to be insane stuff, so make sure to subscribe to stick around for all the glorious Warhammer stuff we have coming in the future. There's going to be links down below as well to my Discord, where you can submit replays to the channel, my Patreon, where you can support the channel, and now my Twitch channel, where I'll be doing bonus content over on there as well. Feel free to comment down below as well what you thought of this battle as a whole. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you got this far in the video, remember, you're absolutely awesome. I hope you're having a lovely day. But back to the battle. Crone Hellebron, 287 kills, a one-woman wrecking ball. Well, more of a tree-way because, I don't know why I said tree-way, like trio-way instead of freeway, but more of a freeway because there was 3 Witch Elves, or 2 next to her and herself, kind of the head of the Witch Elves. 2,369 damage value, 22 damage dealt, 22k damage dealt. Good work by her. Sorceress of Fire got 720 damage value, some nice burning heads. The Death Hag, my god, combined with the Blades of the Blood Queen and infused by the Wrath of Hellebron, 1,738 damage value, slaughtering Vlad von Carstein. All that hype I gave him at the start of the battle had been really tanky, washed away. Dread Spears formed okay. I mean, you know, 520, 498 damage value is really not bad for them. The Witch Elves did not get good damage value, however they did a rather crucial job here today, which was clear out the enemy chaff, so you can surround their key elements in the later stages of the game. 92, 281 and 117 kills is impressive. The damage value quite a bit less so, in the kind of mid-hundreds there. 3,200 damage value on the Blades of the Blood Queen, 198 kills. Really good work assassinating Vlad and just being a bulwark, stale, stalwart anchor for the Dark Elves all battle. Really impressed with them. 198 kills as well, clearing through a lot of chaff, over 16k damage dealt. Black Hawk Corsairs, 1,000 damage value, 839, very crucial unit in this matchup. They're mainly used to kite cavalry here today, but if your opponent did bring a Mortis engine, they're really good at taking them down. And the Colwyn Knights, 883, not shabby. They were mainly saved by that Flaming Sword of Rune. allowing them to carve through a lot of those hex traves because they got jumped pretty badly. Well played to Mr. Powerwolf, 18 kills and only 446 damage value on Vlad von Karstein. Despite losing his lord in unfortunate circumstances from the rip, he actually played pretty good to make the game as close as he did. 676 damage value from the Necromancer on the Corpse Guard. Zombies didn't do much, of course, apart from absorb the damage from those nasty Witch Elves, and the Spearmen actually did pretty amazing. 1,225 damage value. They must have been the ones attacking the Crone. She is pretty susceptible to anything with bonus versus large, with her rather meagre armor. Graveguard, 736 damage value, 1,314, and 760 for the Regiment of Renown. Not great, but not terrible either. Was very impressed with the Varric Reaver play, 1.7k damage value, 130 kills, 10k damage dealt, all good stuff. 900 value on their Hex Raves, unfortunate Flame and Sword of Ruin went off just at the right time. Felbats didn't do much, but just shy of 1.2k in fact. Damage value for the Devils was relatively good, although I think they should have hunted down the Crone quite a bit earlier on in the battlefield than they actually did. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.